The months-long struggle over the government shutdown and President Trump's border wall is over. Only now, it's going to be replaced by a new one, the president's national emergency. After being offered about a fifth of the money he had originally wanted for the wall, President Trump will declare a national emergency in order to circumvent Congress and redirect funding. He plans to redirect roughly $6 billion to build 230 miles of barrier along the U.S.-Mexico border. The measure is already facing legal challenges. Multiple activist organizations, including the ACLU, have prepared lawsuits, and California's Attorney General plans to work with other states to take legal action against the White House. Trump's proposal would establish the 32nd active national emergency. So is this so different? Most of the active national emergencies involve foreign sanctions and human rights issues. This move by Trump may be an attempt to frame what is happening on the southern border as a humanitarian crisis as opposed to a political wedge issue. Time and the courts will tell if that interpretation holds water.
So, Michael, you just talked a little bit about some of the details of this, but why is this happening now?
I think what we're seeing is there's kind of a tension between what President Trump needs to accomplish here and now to kind of accomplish those political goals he's been kind of enumerating, and what the future is for the party, what the future is for him, and what the future is for kind of a vision post-2020. So right now he's trying to deliver on a campaign promise, and we're coming off a months-long struggle over this border wall, and I think he feels like if he doesn't come away with something out of this, if he doesn't come away with a little bit of progress, he's going to look weak and the shutdown will look pointless. But then there's kind of a tension between that and maybe some of the long-term issues the party and the country are facing.
He doesn't need their votes anymore, but just for political support, is he going to get that from congressional Republicans?
That's a really good question. It's something that will definitely, it's going to be difficult to predict. So Lindsey Graham is a good example of somebody who recently, he came out in support of this proposal, and that's something that I think a lot of people weren't expecting because Lindsey Graham is considered kind of a traditional Republican. He was very opposed to President Trump during his candidacy in 2016. But he's kind of come around, and I think that's a good barometer of where kind of the regular establishment Republicans will fall. But certainly you're going to see a little bit of opposition from kind of the more constitutionalist types.
So we've talked a little bit about some of that opposition. Are we going to see opposition from people like the Freedom Caucus? Are we going to see opposition from the public?
So one example here in Syracuse was that there were actually protests. About 70 people were at the federal building in downtown Syracuse protesting. And there have been some kind of spotty protests around the country over this issue. And I think about 3 in 10 Americans right now, as opposed to kind of the rough polling data we have, are opposed to the national emergency and think that or 3 in 10 rather, think it's appropriate for him to declare it. So it seems like an unpopular measure now. If he gets progress, maybe that figure will change a little bit.
All right, Michael, thank you. Certainly we'll be monitoring how the legality of this plays out.